Welcome everyone, and thank you for jumping into another episode of Topic UFO, the show that is dedicated to the open and honest discussion of UFOs and UFO-related activities. Tonight we have a somewhat different type of show. We're not going to be talking about UFO sightings per se. We're going to be talking to an astrologer who has on a couple of occasions now channeled what she is describing as an ET energy or presence. And we're going to be talking to her about that. So without further ado, we are going to be talking to Helane Lipson tonight, who is a psychic, intuitive astrologer, and spiritual counselor. So, Helane, are you out there, ma'am?
I sure am. Hi, Rick. So happy to be here with you.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to join us here. You know, I think we kind of met up. It's funny, you know, when you live life on Facebook, you're just always running into different types of people. And to be honest with you, I can't remember exactly how we met, but there was something in your Facebook page or description or something that caught my eye. And then, of course, as we talked a little bit more one-on-one, I said, oh, got to get her on the show. So appreciate it.
I think it was shortly after I did an interview with Daryl Anka, who is an alien hybrid, or he channels an alien hybrid named Bashar. And I had him on the show. And then soon after that, many folks on Facebook friended me or requested my friendship when they saw that connection. Because that entire interview was about somebody who came from the future. It was almost like his future self, which was a gray hybrid. And that was the energy that Daryl Anka was channeling. And many people know about him. And
that interview can be found on your website?
Sure. It can be found on my website, which is www.insightsbyhelane.com. But it can also be found on my YouTube channel, which is Helane Lipson.
Okay. YouTube too. Well, listen, as this is a UFO type of program, the thing that really caught my eye was this topic you had talked about where, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in two different readings that you were doing, I guess you were reading other people, you had channeled an ET energy of some sort. So, Helane, before we get started here with this ET energy and everything, can you tell us what is, in a nutshell, what is astrology?
What is astrology? That's a big question. Well, it's my belief that we come in as a soul in a body with a series of gifts and a series of challenges. And the time we're born and the day we're born and the place we're born are all significant in talking about some of the potentials that we are coming in with. Astrology is the study of these angles and the positions of the planets and how that relates to your personality, your character, your life challenges, and some of the gifts and talents that you carry in with you.
Well, I tell you, I found it amazing that, you know, we spoke on the phone a couple of weeks ago, just prepping for tonight's show, and you had asked me my birth date, etc. And it just blew me away how closely you pegged me as far as personality and stuff. I mean, it's just amazing stuff. I've never had a professional reading, but just that short time that we had and that information you fed back to me was really incredible, really incredible. So
It's
back
an
to
amazing thing, yeah.
yes, it is. And so these people that you were doing readings for when you channel these ET energies, why don't we start with one of them?
Okay.
And what were you doing, and what were the circumstances surrounding this channeling of the ET energy? And then how did it present itself? How did you know it was ET energy?
Was very interesting because it was just going to be a typical reading where I ask for your birth date, your time of birth, your place of birth, and I'm taking a look at your chart. And at the same time as I'm doing that, I'm also asking my spirit guides and doctors, teachers, healers, masters of the light to give me some ideas or fill my mind with what my client needs to know. And what ended up happening was, instead of what was typical, where my guides would be speaking or their guides would be speaking to my guides, and I would be coming out with, your Grandma Mary is here, or, it seems you're about to get this new job because your father on the spirit side is telling me that. Instead of anything like that, all of a sudden I started to say things like, I have a message from, and I was calling them the Arcturians with an OCT, but later on I looked it up and it was Arcturians with an A. And so I was just going by what I was hearing, and they basically had a message for this young lady because she was like a part of them. They wanted to let her know that, number one, they had actually performed a type of psychic surgery on her or did some kind of physical work on her body and mind, that they were there and helping her because, and later on she did say that this is what she was wondering, what was there and who was helping her. And that some of the messages that she was getting at the park and other places, they were coming from these Arcturians. And so it was almost like she put it out there to ask in her own mind. This is something that she was wondering. And through me at that reading, that is the information that was coming back to her. Most significant about it was that they were actually doing work on her body to help her release some packets of enslaved energy and old wounds so that she could be living her mission. So she was obviously a starseed that had awakened, and she just needed that validation. And that is what came out. I was surprised myself, I have to say. I called them Arcturians because I had never heard of them before. Later on looked it up and saw that there was ETs called Arcturians, and they were actually, they actually even talked about counsel that was working with her, and it resonated deeply with her. It was almost like she knew all this anyway, and it was just that they had come through to validate her experiences.
So you actually went out on the web, excuse me, and there are beings out there called Arcturians.
Right.
And
Actually,
did you
she
find
had
out
called
about
me
these
up.
things? Did you?
Later on, she wrote me and told me that she looked this up later, and then she told me that it was Arcturians, and then later I went and researched them too. So I took such an interest. I even listened to somebody named Suzanne Lee, who was a channel, and also somebody that was similar to my client, obviously, who had a connection with this group of ETs.
Wow. Now, is that in the astrology circles, astrology world? Is it seldom that you hear about someone channeling ET energy or ET presence, or is this something that happens quite often?
This is rare.
Oh, really?
Rare for me. I don't have a lot of. I didn't have a lot of experience. I'm working as a psychic astrologer, and I use the astrology chart to help me open to a person. You know, your birth chart is only a series of potentials and what you're coming in with. It's a starting point for your life, but we also have free will. So to be as accurate as I am, I need to also work psychically, because sometimes people don't follow the exact blueprint that they came in with. They might have made a soul agreement they were going to have a child. As life went on, they decided against it because they went in a different direction. Free will can take you anywhere. The only piece of astrology that is for certain a descriptor of your potentials and what you're coming in with is this natal or birth chart. And after that, yeah, it's all channeling and intuition and psychic work. So, but only on 2 occasions. I mean, that was a real surprise to me. I didn't know, but oftentimes in these readings, I ask in advance that I be a channel for the good of all involved, and that I tap into what the client wants to know. And that was what she wanted to know. She wanted to know what happened to me, what was standing over me, who was doing this to me. They were helping her, though. It was not a horrific scene or anything scary. She actually was not afraid at all of these entities. She was peaceful and grateful, and had felt a weight had lifted after this experience.
So,
but she didn't know if it was her imagination or if this was real. So it was quite validating.
I see. So, when you're giving these readings, and you're channeling this, whatever it is, information, what does it feel like within yourself when you start, say, for instance, this one with the Arcturians? What goes through your mind is what is happening inside you when those messages are coming through? Can you describe it?
That's an excellent question. You know, what's going through me is I am so removed from myself, I don't have a thought in my head. I have no judgment whatsoever as I'm saying the words. I'm there, but I'm almost removed from myself. I was very aware of everything that transpired in the session, but I was almost like I had no feelings, no judgment, no emotion, no reaction. I was actually just being a clear channel. Or just, what is a channel? It's actually like a pipe that is allowing something to be running through it.
Flow through it.
And that's all I was doing. So only later on was I like, oh my goodness, well, this was different. I actually didn't even feel different, and it made me start to wonder that even though I made me start to wonder if that experience had happened more frequently to me, but they didn't name themselves. Like, because oftentimes there's some kind of group of teachers or some kind of group that's collectively speaking, and I don't know the source of where it's coming from. I ask all the time that I be surrounded in the white light and the triple walls of protection and the blue light of healing, and I'm asking for only the highest and the light. So I know that it's a positive entity, but it felt very similar to everything else, except for the words that I was saying were very different.
Well, now, was this the first time, this incident we're talking about, was this the first time that you actually channeled some sort of ET presence?
That was the second time,
Second
actually.
time, huh?
And the first time was somebody that was a telephone reading, and she asked, who helps me? Who's helping me? Who's guiding me? Who are my guides? Where is my intuition? Where is this sense of knowingness coming from? And at that point, with that, I saw a picture of a triangle, and a symbol of a triangle, and then when I was speaking with this person, they said it's us. We're a group of Pleiadian teachers.
Pleiadians.
Pleiadian teachers, and so I was like, oh, okay.
Well,
and
now,
so, but the information that was shared, I mean, what's different than when I read stuff like in the Federation of Light or other things, they were not speaking like, oh, dear ones, like a little bit of like a little condescending. Oh, dear ones, like we're this and you're these little earth creatures and we're these big. They were speaking like they were on an equal level, like we were exactly one of them. That was what happened on both occasions with these Arcturians and the Pleiadians. They were just speaking not like we were little earthlings and they were big old. And there was nothing grandiose about the experience. Like they weren't like, we have a special and important mission for you. That's not how they spoke. They were just validating these people's experiences that they had. One person, the one that the first time, the person was actually a physician, and she didn't expect that answer at all.
Wow.
Not at all. She wanted to know where she was getting this information about medications and the development of, she was trying to take herbs and some natural products for her patients to use in lieu of pharmaceutical medications. And she asked, where are these ideas coming from? Who is helping me? And then that's how this Pleiadian answer came out. She was not expecting that.
So
I was not expecting
was
that.
she, I mean, this must have been quite a revelation to her, I'm thinking. What was her reaction that there were these ETs guiding her or helping her? Was she open and
Yes, she was.
to the whole situation?
She wasn't afraid at all. She was not afraid. She just was just taking it in. She found it fascinating. I think because she saw the symbol of the triangle, and then when I said it was the symbol, I see the symbol of the triangle. She knew because that was the symbol that she would get. And before they started speaking, they showed me the symbol of the triangle. And again, that was very validating for her. She was like, okay, because I see that triangle. That's what I see. And then when I said that, and I guess this triangle was connected or affiliated with this group of teachers that were helping her.
So, now that you know you have this capability to channel such entities, do you ever try to do just, one-on-one type of channeling, not where you're reading somebody, but just between yourself and the outside universe to try to talk to these entities?
It's interesting. I have tried to do this and then don't necessarily remember what I said or what I was thinking. So I have a show called Cosmic Current, and my co-host, CJ Miller, agreed to ask me questions, and then we would record it, and I would channel this out, and that's what we have planned. So that's interesting you asked that, because on my own, I can't tell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in other words, I'm sitting back and I can't tell what is meditative messages, what is coming from my higher self, what is just downloads from even my own guides or angels, or I didn't understand where it was coming from, but if we were to actually direct it toward the benevolent ET energy,
yeah, I wanted.
I believe it will come out. I believe it will come out.
I
But I
wanted to
had a
touch
very
base on that, though, that, the entities that you've channeled so far have all been benevolent. Um,
yes.
are you worried at all that you might get a hold of the opposite type?
I think honestly, by the laws of attraction, like attracts like. So if I'm a high vibrational being, now I had a recent interview with Kelly Lachey, and she said even non-benevolent ETs or ETs that are not pure of intent will try anything. I have never encountered anything like that. All I've encountered were, well, these two tangible experiences, um, and they were positive. They were more than positive. I actually felt wonderful, wonderful speaking to them, almost like I was at home. I was so comfortable.
Hmm.
So I had no fear. I believe that I can do this. I am going to try this with CJ asking some questions and us channeling them in. But alone, no, I haven't had success because, again, I was working with somebody else on both of these occasions, and
Right.
they were asking the questions, and it was coming through me because that was part of our agreement, that I was going to be a clear channel for them. So we're going to have to set it up in such a way that it works like the way it did in those sessions.
So I wanted to ask you some somewhat generic questions because I'm interested to see what the replies from someone such as yourself, psychic, astrologer, what their thoughts are on it. So maybe we'll play 3 questions here. What are your thoughts, if any, on the December 21st, 2012? Do you have
I
any?
think that I do. I think that December 21st, 2012 is the last day of an era. I'm not expecting there to be some kind of monumental, earth-shaking, apocalyptic event, or apocalyptic meaning, world war. I don't know, some kind of treacherous, crazy thing. I also don't expect instant ascension on that day also. But I do believe that that marks the last day of this era, and we start a new era where we are moving into a fifth dimensional reality. Our frequencies are raising. I don't know how else to describe it. What is happening to us is a veil is lifting between the unknown and the mysterious, and where we came from, and who we really are, and what is out there. A lot of answers to many, many questions will be answered at that time. So
It fascinates
if anything,
me. It fascinates me that we can put a man on the moon. We have probes that have landed on Mars. We've invented all this crazy stuff, and yet, honestly, we have no idea why we're here. We just
I think that we have been programmed in such a way to not look within. And if we all were looking within, we would see our connection to our ET cousins. There's no way that we're here alone.
Yeah,
There's no way that it's only us here.
I agree.
I say that, I mean, so confidently. Even though I only channeled 2 ETs, okay, and I am very aware that there is something out there. And I think with sometimes the media shows a lot of shows to scare you about ETs. I think a lot of those, as we're moving on to a higher form of reality, a different kind of life where we're embracing the divine feminine. We're going to be living through the heart. We're letting go of the ideas of war. All of our institutions are crumbling. There's only going to be love left. These ETs are actually helping us along. I believe that they are in the background in some ways, have even prevented wars and big catastrophic events.
Oh, I
I
absolutely
believe
do
that
too. I think there's proof of that with the UFOs that have shut down missile silos and all of that. I mean,
absolutely. And reptilian bases were also shut down. I believe that strongly as well.
yep.
That resonates with me. I also feel that because the frequency of the Earth generally is, Gaia has already moved on from the third dimension, and she's waiting for us. Gaia is the Earth energy, the spirit of the Earth. She's waiting for us to align with her and raise our frequency and vibration. And that is happening. We're finding ourselves asking all the questions that we haven't asked earlier. It's a miracle, you're right. How did we not ask? What are we here for? Who are we? What's our mission?
Well, I think we've always allowed religion to tackle that question. So,
Yeah.
it is what it is there.
It's amazing. I don't think we need a middleman anymore. Like a middleman, like we'll have to ask the saints, or we'll have to pray to the saints, or we'll have to pray to another person, or we'll have to pray. It could just be between us and whatever is out there.
Yep. What about the UFOs, the objects, the orbs, the crafts that people have cited? Of course, we've got them on videotape all over the place now, and photographs, digital photographs. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think these are here for some?
There's so much proof. This is beyond a shadow of a doubt that this exists.
Yep. Why do you think they're here,
definitely.
though? Why do you think they're flying around?
Well, they all have different purposes. Just like, if you look at the bird kingdom, there's many different types of birds, and there's many different types of species of UFOs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not just one kind or two kinds or five kinds. There's a lot. Just as there's so many different variations of bugs or birds or animals. Some, when we talk about these orbs, they are just beings of energy that are on the astral plane, or beings of energy that are multi-dimensional energy that will appear. They don't have a body, but they are something.
Yeah.
And when I see an orb, I'm usually thinking that it's something positive, coming from a positive place. I feel like there is some inorganic energy that comes in the form of archons. That is negative. They look almost like little fetuses, little blobs of sort of gray. And that's the only, I've never seen a reptilian. Archons are the only non-benevolent, I don't even know what to call them. They're not organic. Have you ever heard of archons?
I have not, no.
This would be the only form of something that would come in and want to almost live off of your fear or your anxiety.
A parasitic type of thing, huh?
Parasitic, yeah. So when you think of it, the archons are the negative side of that, and these orbs are the positive side of that. Beautiful, bright lights. And
I think we must have good and evil out there in the universe. I mean, I just think wherever you go, there's got to be the good and the evil. The good and the bad. Whatever.
Yeah. But things are shaping up, and I think almost like we're moving away from that, because here we're in a duality, a world of duality where there is good and bad and right and wrong. And that provides the ground for judgment, this. And so in the end, what is a 5D reality is going to be almost like singularity, where everybody is okay, whatever you are. You're either letting the light in or you're not, but we're not rocked and we're not judged, and we're going on our mission, and everything is known. I think a lot of the times we're seeing that what's coming in people's hearts and what's coming out of their mouths are two different things, and I think at the end there'll be only truth.
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
the frequency that a lot of these ETs exist on, where there's only truth. They're on almost a higher plane than us.
Yep.
They just want us to be with them.
I totally agree. Well, Helane, we unfortunately have kind of gotten to the end of our time tonight. I just want to say thank you. It's been a very interesting conversation. I knew it would be, but I can't thank you enough for coming on. I want to repeat that your website. That's www.insightsbyhelane.com, and I'll have that up here on the screen so people can see it.
Yeah, insightsbyhelane.com.
Okay, and do you have any weekly or monthly shows, and are there names for these shows, or what is it?
Sure, listeners can check me out on Blog Talk Radio. I have a show called Cosmic Current. My co-host is C.J. Miller. I have another show called Embracing What's Real. I also just finished a series with a spiritual teacher named Analia Benz called Up Close and Personal with Analia Benz. So, yes, 3 different shows. And
you're keeping very
all
busy.
Of that, I am, but all of that information is available on my website.
Okay. And of course, if somebody wanted a reading, they could contact you through your website as well, right?
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
And you do you do both in person and telephonic, or is it all telephonic, or?
It's all. I have a lot of telephone readings, but I'm located now in the South Florida area, and I do readings in person and parties in person. But many of my clients are from all over the country, and so I do mostly phone readings.
Great. Well, listen, Helane, thanks again. Great talk with you. Let's cross our fingers and hope that December 21st does take us to something better. If that's all that happened, I'll be happy. If we just would take one step to bettering ourselves, I think it would be great.
That's
well,
going to be.
All right. Well, listen, Helane, thanks again. We will be staying in touch, and have a great evening.
You too.
All right.
Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Open the door, you'll find the secret. To find the answer is